Sorry, you should have it now. It got knocked off.
Okay.
There we go.
So as an evaluator, and maybe a general manager or coach, and you're looking at four guys, right?
Yeah.
Collier, Sensabaugh, Filipowski, and who am I missing?
Ace, Bryce, Cody.
Bryce. I mean, Bailey.
Yeah.
So you're looking at those four guys, the way they play the game, or how they fit the system, and where their value lies with this team.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's really simple. Like, it's not even complicated. We're not like Austin Ainge is has made this huge move, and now he's going to the offseason trying to build a team to contend. And he has to look at each of those five guys and say, what can I reasonably expect them to do next year for a contending team? Now, Ace Bailey is going to play.
Yeah.
5th pick of the draft. Our future is very much based on Ace Bailey. A little less than it once was, but it's very much based on Ace Bailey. And the other four guys, it's a question of like, where do they fit? And I the part of the audio you didn't hear a minute ago is I joked the other night they were taking Spanish 1, and that like the way I failed Spanish 1, they were failing. Tonight I've decided that that's not a good analogy. That they're taking BC calculus, which is like the highest math class you can possibly take. And the thing about BC calculus is you take AB calculus first. And I don't think these guys took AB calculus first. And I'm not sure they took physics, and I'm not sure they got geometry either. Like, they're being thrust into a class where it is very, very hard to try to figure out how they're going to have success.
Yeah. High school to the pros. Are you kidding me? Where's the G League or whatever it takes for them to learn something about how to play this game or how to figure it out. In other words, the right thing.
And, on the other end, like, you got to be able to make plays against the best players. You're going to play on a good team. So
you use calculus as an example. Yeah. Calculus is pretty hard, huh?
Yeah, I never made it to calculus. Yeah. I only know that calculus A, B, and BC exist because my kids. I never got there. And I think you have to take AB before you take BC. I think. I don't actually know if that's true, actually, Ron. I don't either. That might not be true. Someone might have to tell me you can take BC without AB. Because all of them had poor shooting nights tonight. And I think your point is a really good one of, like, how do you evaluate? Like, Ace Bailey goes 4 of 16 tonight. Kyle Filipowski's been shooting it great. Finally has a bad shooting night. Goes 0 of 5, 2 of 10 from 3. Isaiah Collier's box score looks good, but it's very misleading. He was 2 of 8 in the first 3 quarters from the game. Bryce Sensabaugh goes 4 of 16. Like, I mean, that's a pretty tough line for all 4 of those guys, or 5 of those guys. Cody Williams went 2 of 5 and just kind of minimally impactful tonight. But I also if they're going to be on a good team, they're all playing off guys. They're not creating themselves. They're not being forced to make some of these plays. And so I don't know the answer. I hope Austin Ainge is able to do this in a way. And I think that's the second level player evaluation that is going on that, it makes this very difficult.
Yeah. Start looking at a number of things. One, the type of shots that they take. And we're just looking at the offensive side of the ball. The type of shots that they take, high percentage shots, and Will talks about this all the time, and I think it's very, very important, is making the right decisions out there on the floor, whether it's your offense or whether it's the right pass or the type of pass, and just, for the most part, not just being sloppy with what you're supposed to be doing.
I think that's
a tough job.
But I think this is a great point that you're alluding to here a little bit. So here's the one thing I would say. I just gave a bunch of shooting numbers. That might be the last thing that Austin Ainge and Will Hardy are looking at and when they're evaluating these guys. The play where Isaiah Collier, I'm not trying to pick on Isaiah, but just it came to mind. There's a play where Isaiah Collier just blows late in the game. He just blows a closeout. McGowan's goes by him for a layup. That's probably the play they're evaluating.
Right.
The fact that he didn't make his shots now, I will say, I think they're also probably evaluating that, in the case of Isaiah Collier, they just didn't guard him at all tonight. In the first 3 quarters, they literally laid back all the way off of him and basically said, we don't believe you can make a shot, and forced him to shoot threes and mid-range jumpers, and he didn't make shots. The league's going to figure that out. And so I think that's what they're evaluating him on. Like, I think I think you're right. I don't think the box score is the best indicator of how you're going to evaluate these players moving forward for the rest of the night.
Yeah. So going forward, we have 22 games left, and they're going to take a real good look.
On the offensive end of things, like, is there anything they can do to not? I mean, they did not score for the first 5 minutes of the game. They started Blake Hinson, I think, hoping he would bring a little more offense because Conchar and Cody Williams together is really like so non-offensively impactful that it's too much. Their first points came at the 7:17 mark. Like,
almost unheard of.
Yeah, like, is there anything they can do, unless you're in New York earlier this year? Is there anything they can do offensively to try to rectify that?
Well, like Tim said in during that little closeout we had there, you're going to have bad shooting nights.
Yeah.
But I think what the coaches will be looking at in those first 7 minutes is the type of shots they were taking. The Jazz, for the most part, was playing in a half-court game. Why? Because the Pelicans were scoring.
Yeah.
So they're playing in a half-court game. They did not get a chance to get out and transition, maybe play a little fast, maybe have a little secondary break and use some of the skills that, a couple of those players are good at. And for the most part, they just were taking threes. And can't remember how many threes they took there in that first quarter. But they
Jazz,
were not knocking
Jazz or
down
Pels?
The Jazz.
The Jazz in the first quarter were 4 of 13 from three, I think.
Yeah, there we go.
You're blaming it on the threes. They were worse from the twos in the first quarter than they were from the threes, by the way. They were 3 of 13. They were 3 of 13 on twos. We did not see Zion's ankle injury. They actually didn't say sprained ankle. They just said ankle. Like, I think they just sat him because they're up 20.
Yeah.
And then it got close for a second. They probably got really nervous. Elijah Harkless has the one box score line. I think we'll jump out to fans tonight. 14 minutes or 14 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Any thoughts on his night tonight?
He's working at staying in this league, and he's not doing it on the offensive end of the floor. He just lets out get after you defensively, and his foot speed and position is awfully good, and I would say he's pretty physical. Not a great shooter, but I think he's really working on trying to stay in the league.
Okay, and let's look at Ace because Ace is so much of the spotlight. 4 of 16 tonight, 3 of 8 from 3. He did have 8 rebounds,
which is good. I'd like to see more of
that. He did not shoot in the final 7 minutes and 50 seconds because Isaiah Collier basically took every shot of the quarter, going one-on-one on fears and just beating people. Collier took 8 and Sensabaugh took 6, so Ace did not get a shot in the fourth quarter. What did you think of Ace? What are you thinking? What's your thought? Do you care? I said when the year started, we're going to have 4 of 16, 3 of 19 nights all the time from him. We're beginning to have them now that Lauri's not on the floor and they're increasing his role. But what's your thoughts on his?
You see so much talent there. You know he's going to improve in a lot of different areas. He scored the other night, and I was very critical of his rebounding. Where he come up with 8 rebounds here tonight, which is good. Seeing something different that's complementary of his game, every ball game, I think is going to be very important.
Right.
But one day next game he might have 7 or 8 assists.
Right.
So those type of
not
things.
a bad, actually, by the way, just to put it out there, not a particularly bad defensive night from the Jazz tonight. The Pelicans offensive rating was a 110, which is below league average. Anytime the Jazz with this roster without any centers on it, literally the Jazz do not have a center on the roster right now. Mo Bamba is the only center on the entire roster. Kevin Love is not a center. Kyle Filipowski is not a center. We play somebody else's. Oscar Sheboy is not a center. No. So we don't have a center of the roster. So to hold someone to a 110 defensive rating, I think the guys actually deserve to the conversation we were having earlier. Like, I think the offensive numbers are probably not where to be looking. And like some of the defensive stuff tonight is probably where they are looking. There were some really good, I think Kyle Filipowski's open space foot moving defense is getting way better than we've ever seen before. I think those are the things that Austin Ainge is probably looking at, is not Kyle's 0 for 5 from 3 tonight.
I agree.
All right, that wraps up POSTCAST tonight.
I think I want to give a.
Oh, you do?
One, just one.
You originally
it's going to be Harkless. I wasn't going to give out any, but I think
Harkless gets a start tonight.
Yeah.
All right, Harkless gets a start tonight. Thanks very much for tuning in. That is POSTCAST.